Then you are having digitalization. So digitalization is like which we have done long ago, where we have shifted the physical setup of our business to the digital platform.
Okay. Yeah.
That is what we have done.
Yeah.
But when it comes to digital transformation, so digital transformation is the advanced stage of doing our business. So when I'm saying advanced stage of doing our business, so you need to understand from the three major point perspective. One is what is the context.
Yes.
Second one, what is the content, and third one is what is the process.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, my name is Heath Gascoigne, and I am the host of the Business Transformation Podcast. And this is the show for business transformators who are part designers, part strategists, part collaborators, and part negotiators. Business transformators have moved past just business design and includes oversight of implementation of those business designs and business transformations, and includes stakeholder management, coordination, and negotiation. If you work in strategy development and implementation and work to ensure that strategy is aligned to the business design and technology, then you're probably a business transformator. This is the show where we speak to industry experts and professionals to share their stories, strategies, and insights to help you grow and turn around your business transformation. Welcome to the Business Transformation Podcast. And in this episode, we are talking to one of those industry experts. We are talking to Jatika Jain, who is one of the only two academia. I'm not sure if Jatika likes that title, but I like that title because that's where I got a lot of my knowledge from academia. She is the assistant professor at Digital Transformation Innovation at, and I had to get this right, Keele University of Business School in UK. I actually thought that was European, but there's two. I've learned just prior to starting the camera. Has a career as a researcher, has fulfilled senior research roles in, where was that there? Denmark, a couple of roles. You have a specialty in blockchain. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Also a professor at another university in, where's this one there, Jatika? M.I.T University? Where is that?
Yes, you said it right.
Oh, very good, very good. And you did a period there. So for the record, for disclosure, from Jakita's perspective, is not just 100% academia all the way through from graduate to postgrad to now assistant professor, has actually spent time in the industry at GE as a business analyst, strategic marketing and consulting team, commercial risk and marketing solutions. Alrighty. Not just there, but also Genpact Limited also. Welcome, Jatika. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Heath. Thanks for having me in your show.
Oh,
it is
well.
it is a really nice to be here, and gonna be really great experience in terms of sharing my experience from the feet of the digital transformation perspective to your large audience, of course.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, so we agree on the topics because this is as an academia. Academia. We've had Professor Keith Strawn on the podcast previously, who has, I think, later in life switched over to industry, and so now leverages his academia research lecturer knowledge and experience in the industry. Now you may be on the other side, and you have now, well, actually you're moving up into a professor role, right? So and also leveraging off the research that you have done. Okay, so to put it into our talking points, our 3 talking points. First is, as you are doing your research and also your time in industry, what is it you're seeing at the moment? Now, the good part about that for the audience is that you almost have an impartial view because you look across industries, right? Not just one particular industry. So that would be very insightful. Is there an approach that you follow yourself for, one, your research and also back in industry when you were in your analyst roles around digital transformation, and particularly digital transformation, and your focus around blockchain? How are people using that? And then the last one, how, if you were to do it again, knowing what you know with academia and also with your business analyst role, if you could do it all again, what would you do different?
Like,
Okay, nice and easy.
yes, I'll try myself to remember your questions because there are too many questions.
Ah,
Okay, as usually I say in my lectures, shoot one by one.
mhm.
Don't shoot all
Yep,
your bullets at one
yep.
at
Okay,
one
very
shot.
good. One shot at a time. Like
Yes.
50 Cent. You got on
Yeah.
it's Eminem, one shot. You got one shot.
Yes. Okay, I'll start with your first question. As I moved in my career journey,
Yep.
it started from from the as a practitioner from the
Uh-huh.
corporate. When we work in corporate or as a practitioner, there we do not have that opportunity in terms of exploring new spaces, new technologies, and not just from the feet of the technology, but from the understanding the business opportunity in the technology, as well as bringing new solutions in terms of doing exploratory research.
Uh-huh.
So academia, these days academia is not like as it was earlier in earlier days, where it was more of the theoretical approach. But these days, after having the from new domains coming up every day, so the in these days the academia is trying to narrow down this gap, where we are trying to understand what is required in the industry and what are we teaching in the classroom sessions, but through various approaches. So you're trying to narrow down that gap
Yep.
through various simulation exercises, how we do the case studies in a day to day basis, problem solving situations, all that. So
Uh-huh.
it is no more like as it was earlier.
Based off theory before, but now you're
Yes,
doing
yes,
more research, going and looking at industry, maybe a bit deeper diving, maybe
yes,
asking more questions. So just
yes.
for the audience, if you missed it, what Jatika said about there's a gap between industry and academia. And so where academia comes in, if, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jatika, is that businesses, rightly or wrongly, in their silos will do great things
Hmm.
and maybe do them independently, obviously, of each other. But there's some themes or lessons that could be taken away, or maybe frameworks and ways of working that maybe not
Hmm.
universally known.
Hmm.
And your role is that you understand what these trends,
Hmm.
frameworks, philosophies are, and bring them together and create some form of what, or maybe it's your papers, and the papers become
Hmm.
something, some academic paper. So, but the key part being that there's a gap between industry and
Hmm.
academia. And you're saying, in your, I had this with my MBA for over, and asked a similar question. We're trying to close that gap between academia and
Hmm.
industry.
Hmm.
And how they do it is they get people from the industry, like they'll ask me to come and teach what I teach in academia. And I said, why would you want to do that? So, because that's the way they close the gap. But that's
Yes,
not the only way they close the gap, right? That is a good way. I think it's a great way. But
yes,
is there?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
No, of course, that is one way. That's we always said, you have to reflect back what is happening. But
Mm-hmm.
that is one approach. But there are other approaches that we have to integrate in our teaching.
Yep.
That is where I always say the COVID was the hard lesson which we all
Uh-huh.
have learned.
Yep.
It made us to understand what is the requirement of the industry, what exactly is required, in not in terms of understanding the requirement, but following that we always say, learn, unlearn, and relearn. So it is really
Yes.
important that you need to come up new approaches, understand what is the requirement, and how are we gonna narrow down that gap which
Yep.
was existing earlier.
Yeah.
Earlier people were working in their own silos. So
Yep.
these days, with the integration of technology, with the new approaches, we are
Mm-hmm.
trying to reduce that gap.
Uh-huh. Okay. There's an interesting case the audience missed, that your learn, unlearn, relearn is, that's
Yes.
great. Look, you know, you hear these things, they're almost like cliches, right? and
Yes.
you hear them so often, but then you go, if you actually take the time to listen to that and go, what does it actually mean? And it's that I think I love what you've said about you've basically done lessons learned. What have you learned? And I find on the projects that I get called in, either they've been running for a year or a year and a half, or they've
Yes.
done it already and then it didn't work out. They called the project, took a few months off and restarted again. And I'll turn up and I'll say, okay, you done this before? I said, oh, yeah. I said, okay. So where's the lessons learned? And they go, no, and they go, oh, that lady that you met yesterday, who also going away drinks, yeah. Well, she was here for the whole 2 years of the previous project. I said, and she's gone now. So, okay. Well, where's the notes? Where's the lessons learned? Oh, there weren't any. Well, you read them, and they go, I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with those. They're not very useful. They're not actionable. It's someone's brain dump. But they are. That's a key part. When I say when projects don't finish when they're supposed to finish at project close, but project close should be after the lessons learned are captured and there's actually lessons learned.
Yes. Yes. No, certainly that's what is there. I always say that if there is a very stark difference between evolution and revolution.
Mm-hmm.
So
the difference between evolution and revolution.
yes,
I'm writing these notes down. I'm going to quote you later.
Technology has its huge role. So it should not be forced. It should be sustained. It should happen gradually. So
yep.
Some things when we practice it, that's how businesses works. If something is happening in a nice manner, it is profitable, it is doing good. The organization keep on doing that. They don't look at the opportunity which may be there. If they just want they do not want to explore it, they do not want to go beyond their comfort zone. They do not want to see what there may be another territory which they haven't explored yet, but it has a huge opportunity. So that is where we always say that you just need not to keep yourself in your comfort zone. Yep. Go beyond, see and explore, and because you never know what kind of scenario may come in future. And yes. That is where COVID has told us no one has ever thought of this kind of situation will come. But it came all of a sudden, and all the businesses, all the practitioners have to answer this situation and to run the business in that kind of scenario, and that is what has happened.
Yeah. Okay, so you said there the difference between evolution and revolution.
Yes.
And so the follow on to that was that it should be technology, maybe the enabler. So this is interesting because you are, I would say, the spokesperson for blockchain. You have a big history of blockchain. You are even, if I'm not mistaken, this is your major, and you are lecturing on blockchain. Yes. And you are saying, so to our technologist audience, as much as I'm on the business side of these transformation projects that use all these realms of technology. I could not do my role without technology, and technology probably couldn't do the role without business or business architecture. We work together on one team. But it's interesting that you're from someone who comes from technology and from probably the leading edge of having the biggest change or biggest impact right now. But you're saying it should not be technology focused, and it should be done and happen gradually.
Yes. I always say, whatever the solution you're trying to develop, it should be from the social techno perspective. So when I'm saying social techno, it should have implication for society. It should have it has its own implication for the businesses to make the life easy for the citizens, for human beings, and to make business solutions profitable, and understanding the business problems in a more critical manner, analyze it well, so that we are all the waste. We always say that the different type of waste. So we should reduce those waste, be it man hours, be it resources, be it energy. So you should try to reduce those wastes. Yep. So the technology should bring better solution. It should not be just a replacement of the
Yes.
existing technology, so that it gives you a fancy picture. Oh, I'm using this amazing technology, the technology which no one has heard of. So I'm bringing this technology into the business solution. No, that should not be the case. The case should be that it should bring the solution in a more, make the solutions more advanced in a such a
Yes.
way that it will make our life easy and profitable for businesses.
So not like for like. We are
Yes,
not replacing an old system for a
yes,
new system. Is it
yes,
replacing an old system for a better system?
yes.
A step up. All right.
Yeah, that is where I always say technology is like a machine, but to run that machine, you need a fuel. The fuel is your
Yes.
data. So the data speaks
Ah,
a lot.
okay. This is where the data comes in.
Yes,
Yes.
that's where the data comes in. So
Yeah.
data will help you to understand the problem holistically,
Yeah.
360 degree. Where exactly is that you? I always say the problem is like a wall, but if you will not analyze the wall where you have to hit and you keep on hitting with the hammer, you may end up on hitting for an year. So you need to analyze where exactly is the problem. That with the help of two major things. One is the right lens. The lens
Right then.
is a theoretical approach. It gives
Uh,
you a right abstraction and reflection. That is one.
uh,
And of course, with the right tool, the tool will help you to find the right solution, because otherwise you will not be able to find the right solution. So data has its own role, and that is where we, these days we always say in the finding the technological solution, it should be data driven. It should not
data
be like
driven.
just,
Yes. Yes.
yes,
Absolutely. Data driven. So data just almost evidence based from the
yes,
data. All
yes,
right. Yeah. So yeah, that's where that. So data is the new gold, and it has been for a while, right?
yes.
Yeah. Some technology companies are worth more than mining and oil companies because of the
Yeah,
data.
it is very important. Like I've seen, like when we do research, we talk with the organizations to understand. So the with respect to digitalization, the people are not having very strong understanding what exactly digital transformation is. People usually get
Yes.
confused between the three jargons. Is it
Yes.
digitalization, or is it digitization, or is it digital transformation? So
Yes.
so these three things having a
So let
very
me get that one. So digitization, dig.
digitization,
Yeah.
digitalization, and digital transformation.
Yes. Okay. Digit. So the first one, digitization, not digitalization, and then the
No, the
second
first
one.
is digitization. The
Yep.
digitization is conversion of your analog to digital. It's just
Yes.
analog to digital.
Convert. Okay. Yep.
Then you are having digitalization. So digitalization is like which we have done long ago, where we have shifted the physical setup of our business to the digital platform.
Okay. Yep.
That is what we
Yep.
have done.
Yep.
But when it comes to digital transformation, so digital transformation is the advanced stage of doing our business. So when I'm saying advanced stage of doing our business, so you need to understand from the three context, three major point perspective. One is your what is your the context.
Yes.
Second one, what is the content, and third one is what is the process.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I love it. This is very similar to something I follow. Okay, so and the last one, so context, content, and process.
Yes. So when I'm saying what is the transformation context, so it
Yep.
has to be very much clear. Is it like, are you talking about IT enabled transformation, or you are not talking about IT enabled the other transformation? Is it
Yep.
where you need a technology or you don't need a technology? Because people are not clear when the moment I say transformation, they think like there is some sort of technology will come, it will be some sort of a
Yes.
gimmick will happen.
Yeah.
No, I'm not I'm not going to show you some sort of it is not like a Harry Potter where things are going to just come up all of a sudden. So it should be, if it is IT enabled, What are the drivers? Is it internal driver or external driver?
Yes.
You
Yep.
need to understand. You need to have a very strong clarity on it. So that is from the context perspective. If it is about the content, so then you need to understand at what level of transformation the organization are right now going on,
Is
and
that
what
like their,
level
is
of
that,
transformation.
so is that level as in their level of maturity?
Level of maturity, yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
Digital,
Digital maturity.
yes, digital maturity.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So at what level you are. So when I'm saying we are going to analyze the digital maturity, so here we are going to analyze from the different dimension perspective, not just one area perspective. So
Yep.
when I'm saying dimensions, the dimensions cover it covers your IT infrastructure also. Are you having a sound IT infrastructure?
Yep.
The
Okay.
It also covers what kind of human resource you are having. Are you
Okay, so that people, process, technology, and
Yeah,
data
people
elements.
process, technology, everything comes under that.
Oh, very nice. Okay, so yeah, so we've got. I think we've segued into your approach here. So your number two. So the first part was the process in terms of your, what is your approach, and the first is step one, or your context. Understand the
Yes,
context. I think that part is missed on a lot of people, and I think that's missed on more senior guys
yes,
in, when I say guys, I mean colleagues of, let's say, my level,
yes,
who know a lot of frameworks,
yes,
and so their challenge is what framework is best suitable for the context,
yes,
and they don't quite, let's say, more focused on the framework than they are of the context, and then it becomes a question of, if you look really closely at the stakeholders' face, you can see that's washing over their head and their eyes are rolling back, and you're
yes,
going, they're quite, the consultant hasn't quite understood the context here. They are more focused on their framework as opposed to the context. And
yes,
what's going to end up is that we're going to get this happening with the stakeholders. They're going to be crossing their arms and going, I don't understand what's happening here. I don't, he's very confident, but it doesn't make any sense to me. What's the time? How long are these guys here for? Oh, a couple of months. Well, if we just turn up to these meetings and nod our head, they'll be gone soon, and we can go back to how it was before. And
yes,
that's what happens. So for our audience, Jatika said it straight up. First
yes.
part, context. Understand the context, not your framework, but
No, no,
context.
no.
Yes.
The most important is the context. So, and with the context, you need to have a clarity. What are the internal drivers? What are the external drivers?
Yep. The drivers, internal,
So
external.
it's like very simple question. Like if somebody asks you to change, then change in your behavior. It can be maybe change in your behavior, change in your personality, maybe. So the first
Mm-hmm.
question comes from a human being: why would you like me to change?
Yes.
Right, the same way it happens with the organization. So you need to understand what are those internal drivers that we would like to have, those drivers to bring that change into the organization. If you won't have the clarity on your internal drivers and the external drivers, it is going to be a really big miss on your agenda.
Yeah. You'll just be very busy.
Yes,
Probably busy being busy, but not busy being productive.
yes, yes.
Yeah, and
So
you'll kid
you need to
yourself to
have a
think.
very strong
Mm.
clarity on it.
Clarity is king
Clarity
or
is
queen. Okay, so first part, context. So we got the context right. We understand the drivers, internal, external. And I think
yes.
there's a very interesting point. You said why, and
Why?
I always, but there's what's that book? We always start with why. Who wrote that book? Simon. I don't know.
Simon Sinek.
Yeah, Simon Sinek. Yes,
Yes.
yes. He yeah. Start with why. I've had that, a version of that
No,
book.
I always say in all my classes that if your why is not clear, believe me, whatever you are doing, you will be that will be a big failure. So
Oh
if
yes,
your why is not clear, if for
yeah,
instance, if I ask you jump out of this wall, I will
yeah,
give you 10 pound, you
yeah,
will not jump. The
yeah.
moment if I'll say you I will give you 1 million pound, you will surely jump because your
Yes,
why is clear.
yes. Very big. Yes, very clear. If you're a business owner, leader, or manager looking to transform your organisation and about to spend 6, 7, or 8 figures on your project, then listen to this all the way through. So my name is Heath Gascoigne and I'm the author of the Business Transformation Playbook. I've used the 6-step agile framework HOBA, House of Business Architecture, with private clients including the UK government, 5100 companies and startups. I'm the guy that clients call to turn around their failing transformations. Join me, I'm running a 30-minute masterclass where I show you exactly what you need to do to transform your organisation on budget and on time. Click the link below this video to register. Look forward to seeing you there. I get that question. Well, when I start projects, that's one of the first things we do is very clear on when you talk about clarity, get clear on the vision, and they say, well, the vision isn't this lovely 25,000 foot aspirational statement. It has a very intentional purpose. And give an example of MHRA or Help with Their Transformation, and their vision statement, we articulated, so every word that was in that statement was a very specific reason. They wanted to be strategic people partner to help the business continuously improve. And it was strategic because they felt themselves, they were tactical, they were the people partner, so people, because that's their role, HR, they weren't a financial partner, although they had an impact on finance. People, they want a strategic partner, so the relationship between the two was hand in glove. It wasn't customer company relationship. It was, we're in this together. We're actually in it together. And then who were they helping? Business. So the word business was in there. And then continuously improve. That was the outcome they wanted to achieve. And then say, okay, now we've got our vision. How are we going to execute that? We've got strategies, people, process, technology, data. What do we do? And each one had objectives and measures. And then from that point on, which they'd actually ran that project for 18 months and they canned it, because the consultants come in and they started talking about this thing called services. And they go, services, what's service? And service architecture and service catalog and service models. And they're going, a foreign language. They didn't understand, to your words, the context.
Yes.
And so I come along and said, okay, guys, look, there's a process to this. Step 1 is this, 2, 3, 4. And the first thing we're going to do is get our vision clear. That means we know where we're going, what that looks like. And that one meeting, which only lasted an hour and a half, and I had the senior management team, we got from the vision, the strategies, objectives, and had the action for the team to go away, get the measures.
Yes.
They came back with the measures. We all got in the room and said, okay, this is what we're going for, and this was what good looks like, and this is how we measure it. And they're like, yeah, we want to be a part of that. We got there in 1 week, which it took them 18 months to go around the houses and get nothing. They canned it because the vision was clear.
Yes, that is where I always say that, we have this approach of 4 W's, 1 H.
Oh.
Why, where, whom, right? And how.
My favorite, yes.
So if you have the answers of this, that means your thought clarity is spot on.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, I say I might have missed one there, but I have one extra. I have the 5 W's, 1 H. So there's actually
it moves, like some people say 4 W 1 H, 5 W 1 H. It depends upon again situational based. Yeah. But yes, sometimes we use 5 W's also.
Yeah. Okay, so and to the audience, in case you missed that,
yes,
Jatika, what she just did there, in case you missed that was adopting. Adopting. I won't name any names of the current client, but where they take a framework off the shelf and force it down people's throats, and then they wonder, they like the sound of their own voices. And it's like, guys, we're going to get nowhere with this. And if you want to just be ranking up the time and materials, that's what we're going to get, but we're not going to get a result. We've lost the business already. You're speaking another language. But I recommend you don't do that. And so what you just said there, we adapt. And so that's the lesson. You've got a professor here. Basically, we have a professor who's telling you, who's seen and researched everything across industries, and is even in the space which is the success at the moment, blockchain.
It is not just the industry. I have performed research, and it's published in top tier journals. I have done research across Spain. I've done research across Denmark. I've done a research on the implementation of new technology in India, and
Oh,
now
wow.
I am trying to do in UK. So where we
Oh,
are
well
trying
done.
to, we have covered around 1,500 MSMEs.
Oh, wow. So that's small to medium size entities,
Yes, yes,
enterprises.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow. That's a fair few. Wow.
So
Okay.
it's not just from one industry, but yes, this is what I majorly we use that TOE framework, that how the when we are trying to implement new technology, bringing a change in the technology. So from understanding the organizational, understanding the environment, understanding the technology requirement.
Yep.
So this is what across countries I have observed, it is the key factor, the key role is your top management that plays a very
Oh,
significant
yeah.
role in
Okay.
bringing that change.
Key role, top management. Now
Yes,
that's interesting. Because
that is what
I
we technically call them as a mediator. We don't call them as a moderator. They're not just
mediator,
yes, they play a very significant role as a mediator,
a mediator, not moderator.
not moderator.
Okay, so for the audience, what's the difference between a mediator and a moderator? A mediator would be somebody who agrees, gets the two parties to agree. Yeah, and a moderator would be what to calm the parties.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So they are to get them to agree, and as opposed to a moderator to calm. Okay, so
And
from
this is not something which this has been tested. We have
yep,
done this study in Spain. We have conducted this study in Denmark. We have conducted this study in India. So now I'm conducting in UK. So though the results are not published yet for UK, but
yep,
for the other three studies the results are already published. So
uh-huh,
so it is across different countries. This is what we have seen, and that is why I always say, if you want to bring the change in your organization, make sure that your top management is convinced. Make sure your
yep.
top management is understanding why do you need to bring that change.
Yep. Okay. You know, I go on and about it. Might sound like a bit of a broken record sometimes, and say the four causes of transformation program failure is lack of business user support,
Mhm.
lack of top leadership support, changing requirements and incomplete requirements, and you've just said there the top management part. So the top
Yes,
management play a
because
key role.
this is, I always say that you it may happen, you may be having a big truck or a trailer or maybe a Mercedes, but the driver is having a key role, so your top management is your
Yep.
driver.
Yes, the driver. Yes, that's I think it's underrated, right? So the
Yes,
the role, like I actually I don't poo-poo it a lot or poo-poo it or downgrade the let's say the importance, but leadership and transformation, leadership in your organization is one thing, leading your organization through change is another, but then
yes,
leading through a major change like a transformation, that require you can't think that, oh, wait a minute, I've got a little bit of a fag packet here, we can write the whole
yes,
plan on the back here and it's good to
yes,
go.
yes.
No.
And that is why you see these days the Fortune 500 companies, they are coming up with the change managers and change leaders,
Mm,
which wasn't existing earlier. We
yeah,
have
yeah.
never ever heard of the change
Mm,
manager role, I mean the
yes.
change leader role. Because of this, because we see that there is a change in the technology, so we need the SMEs there to understand the requirement of what is happening in the outside world. That is where I always say, the Jack Well has rightly mentioned, if the change is outside more than the change inside, your end is on next cell.
Oh, well, so if the change is more on
If
the
the change
outs,
is more outside than the change inside,
yeah.
then your end is on next side.
Oh, so you're about to get the ass.
Yes, it is really important. You need to, that is what I will always say. That is what transformation says, that, it is something. If you want to be an eagle, you have to keep on, tweaking your own skin
Yeah.
and change it on yourself. Otherwise, you just can't be, you can't have that position, to hold that position, that you are doing an amazing business in the market.
Yeah, yeah, I think that too. We've seen a few big technology and telephone companies that
Yes.
got very big and market leaders for untouchable for many years, and what are they
Yes.
now? Gone.
Yes.
Yeah, Nokia and BlackBerry.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
like
best example.
yeah. Then they made a
Yahoo also. We all know what has happened with
oh
Yahoo.
yes, yeah,
At one
Yahoo.
point of time, they were about to buy Google, and now you see where Yahoo is.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, what a shame. And what does
Yes.
it come down to? Leadership.
Leadership. Yes.
Yeah, having I don't know if it's the
I
wrong
I
leader.
I, I always show that the video of the Nokia CEO, the last day when he made the presentation. He said one line. He said, we haven't done anything wrong, but we made a mistake to not to analyze, understand the change. He said that. He said
Yeah,
in his last line, that we haven't done anything wrong, but we failed to understand the change.
wow. It's like, how could you not? I think it was the App Store basically, right? That
Yes.
they didn't understand that that's where the market was moving, and the competitors were supplying that in their
Yes.
handsets, and
Yes.
they didn't want to play that game. And next thing you know, everyone abandoned ship. All the customers went to the competitors.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. For those
And that
that
is what is happening in today's scenario. Every day I talk about it. I talk to people that, there is a lot of, it is a talk of the town about Chat GPT, right?
yes,
The
yes,
GPT-4. So, with this new technology, yes, it is really important for us to integrate the new things to make solutions better. In spite
mm,
of the fact you create, you feel that it is a threat. It is not a threat. The new technologies are coming in order to provide you better solution. Again,
yes,
it's, I always say, it is a two-edged weapon. How
mm,
are you going to use it? It is up to you.
yeah, yes, yes. That's interesting. You say that the technology is not a threat. It's like some people that are new to investing. They'll say, "Oh, the stock market is risky." Well, it's
Yes.
not actually the stock market. It's risky. It's the level of knowledge of the investor
That is the
having.
risk.
That's the risk.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not the risk of the chat GTP. Although, from
Yes.
my so the HOBA Tech company perspective, that I'm a little bit nervous of my team using it, because what they input in it remembers it,
Yes.
and it shares that. And so I think, oh, you know what? If we had a private version, I would be interested, but maybe not a public version where it's getting shared. Like it's one thing to put your search, your search criteria into Google, and then they'll say, and then you might see later on, you go start typing, and it auto completes your sentence and go, oh, someone else also searched that, and then next thing you know, it's saying everything that you thought in that question, going, oh, okay, so now it knows everything.
Yes.
So at some point in time, ChatGPT will also know everything. So that's my, I know there was year 2000 was the time of the vaporware, and when a lot of companies with $1 million valuations with no product, and there was nothing there. And the good news of ChatGPT, looks like there is something there,
Yeah.
but there's also the I think you say the two-edged sword, right? Is the one side it works for you, and the other side it works against you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think
It is totally up to you. Like,
mm,
how are you going to use it?
yeah,
That is what it is. Not just only Chat GPT, I think so. Every technology has two sides. It is totally up to you. How are we going to use it? Are we
yes,
going to use it to make our solution better, or are we just trying to not exploring the technology, and making those walls that, this technology, I won't let that enter.
Hmm.
The moment that any new thing comes, you can't control it. It is beyond your control.
Yes. So the lesson there is that you need, like the use of frameworks, right? The context.
Yes.
Then you need to understand the context. And
Yes.
and I think what's also maybe part of your research is you understand trends. And so as a business owner, business leader, there are trends, and and you do, part and parcel of your role is you
Yes.
analyze, assess, some comparisons. And so from a business leader transformations perspective, also, if
Yes.
technology is part of that solution, you'd be wise to consider it and understand, is it a short-term trend, is it a long-term trend, is it here to stay, is it one of these overnight success things that like NFTs, or what are the NFTs? They
Yes.
were pump and dump, and I hear nothing about them now.
Yes.
Not,
Yes.
and they were very hot news about 12 months ago.
Yes.
And everyone is okay, so there may be something with the technology, but maybe the way it was marketed, and maybe the marketing got ahead of
Yes.
the actual product.
And the same case was with metaverse also.
Yes. Yeah. The old metaverse.
See, I always say that, be it an NFT, be it metaverse, there is a nice quote, that before even making the horse ready, you have put the cart. So
Yes, the cart.
understand
Yeah, the cart before the
understand
horse.
what. Yes, so understand where exactly, as I'm saying, like, that is where I always say that you need to understand the social techno perspective.
Yes.
If is it the technology has the social something solution which will bring to the society or to the businesses to make it more profitable. And that is where the third part of the transformation comes, which is process.
Yep, the process. What's the third one? Right. Yeah,
Yes.
the
So the
process.
process is talking about the two major aspect. What is your strategy content, and what is your strategy process.
Okay.
So when I'm saying strategy content, it talks about all the decision areas.
The season areas.
Yes. So what are those decisions which you have to make? Where,
Uh-huh.
if for instance, I want
Decisions.
to bring a new technology because I want to increase the efficiency of my process.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Very, very clear. Very
Yes.
clear. If today, right now, I am able to achieve three sigma, I want to achieve 6 sigma.
Yep.
How am I going to achieve that? So
Mm.
what would be my jet value? So where I would want to see my process. So very clear.
So clarity on the process. That's your
Yes.
strategic content.
Yes.
And there was strategic intent, was it?
Strategy process.
Strategy process.
Yes. So under the strategy process, I need to be very much clear about the types. What type of process, what type of framework I would want to integrate, who are would be my participants. If in case, that is where we have talked about process, people, right?
Process.
So
Yep.
yes, so here people are going to have a major role under the strategy process.
Yep.
Because, for instance, if you want to come up with the nice framework, they are the one who are going to drive that framework.
Yeah, the people.
The people. Yes.
Can't forget about the people.
Yes.
Alrighty. So we got to the third point there, right? The third point step in your
Yes.
process. And so the last point, and I'm going to recap this at the end. So the last point was, if you could do this again, what would you do differently? From all that you've known, all that you researched, different countries, Spain, Denmark, India,
Yes.
and now the UK, publish your academic, your papers. If you could do it again, what would you do differently?
I would do differently, which I always say that sometimes you think you won't analyze the situation with your own biases, with
Yeah.
your own understanding, right? So that is where, as a human, though we try our level best not to have our own biases,
Yes.
but it comes automatically. right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
so once you do something, you always think like that. If you would not have thought about those or kept those biases, it would
Mm.
have happened in a much better way.
Yes. Okay. So you're saying here self-awareness. You
Yes,
have
yes. Means
self-awareness.
self-awareness is one aspect. There are multiple aspects under that.
Yeah.
How that is what, as a human, how much are you ready to caution on your own self, your own
Yeah.
thinking. That
Okay.
is
The
very difficult.
question. Yeah. Okay. I think it's a powerful question. Is that
Yes.
you question yourself?
Yeah.
You know. That's I actually I
Because
one.
you're challenging your own thoughts. You're
Yeah.
challenging your own decisions.
Yes. Yeah, the one client I helped recently, and the first, and I said we're going to adopt a new approach here,
Yes.
and this approach is called our new modus operandi, our mode of operation by default. This is how
Mm-hmm.
we will now behave by default, and that by
Mm-hmm.
default is that we're going to question the question, and that
Yes.
includes questioning me. Said I'm
Yes.
not beyond question. You should even question me. If I say we should do this, you ask why. And if we
Why?
should do that, you should ask why as well. And if someone tells you that this is what we're going to do and I can't explain it and you can go do your own research on Google, you have to really say why.
Why?
Because if they can't explain it to you and you need to do your own research, guess
Yes.
how well that's going to go when they leave and you've implemented what they told you to?
Yes.
Not very well at all. Yeah. So then it comes
That
back to
that is
the,
that is something in the word of training we use. Train the trainers.
oh, words from my, I love
Right?
this. Yep.
People say that whosoever is giving the training, they think like that. Who can train me? I'm knowing
Mm.
everything. But the reality is that they also need training.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the trainer. And
Yes.
the trainer of the trainers has a lot to answer for because usually what happens is those people mimic the trainer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and if like I there's a couple of schools of thought of university. There's the school of thought that says, oh, should I go or should I not go? And then the school that says, well, no, you should go whether your degree ends up being useful or not, but it teaches you some good, practice behaviors. And then you get to a certain level of a university and you go, some people will go, I didn't quite enjoy that.
Mhm.
And then they stop. Or they finish university and they go, yeah, I got what I want, but then they go into industry and they don't think.
Mm.
They just follow instructions. And I go, the point of university isn't to teach you to copy something, it's to teach you to think. It's to
Yes.
think critical thinking. And that's the part you're supposed to get out of the university. Yes, it's good that you can turn up and complete, rote learn or whatever, but you need to think. And I think that's the lesson and it's almost like the subconscious lesson that
Yes.
it's not taught. We're actually teaching you here to think for yourself. They go, well, which part of the exam is the think for yourself part? I want to pass that part. So that's a key part.
You said it. You said it right. This is something which I say on a daily basis, that university is not giving you some sort of a magic wand. It is just providing you a lens which will help you to analyze, and not just analyze, which will help you to have the right abstraction
Mm,
and right reflection, and
yes.
increase your horizon of thinking in such
Mm,
a manner. The earlier you may not be seeing that particular situation in a manner which you may see right now, because you
yeah.
are having a different lens.
Yes, yes. Which goes back to your earlier point about the
Yes,
the lenses,
the
about the
lens is
two,
important.
yeah, the right lens and the right tools.
That is what
Wow.
I say, that maybe if you're doing a more advanced degree, you may be having more megapixel lens.
Yes, yes.
You
See
can
it.
zoom it more.
Yeah. And then and then we'll probably go back to your approach again. Context, content, and the
Yes.
process.
Yes.
All right. Jatika, I think we'll wrap it up there. I want to recap what you said though, for
Yes.
that was really interesting. Really much enjoyed that. So we started from the top, and I asked you the question: what are you finding you dropped a couple of frameworks there. So the gap between industry and academia, and they do it in a couple of ways, and it's not just the industry coming to academia and teaching. From your papers that you do the research, and as we've just talked about across countries, so you have it's not isolated to a particular country, not isolated to a particular sector, but across sectors, across countries. What I say when people come on the podcast is like, I should have said before, full disclosure, Jatika and I have not met each other before. Jakita's in the UK. I'm also in the UK. Not to say we're biased about the UK, but just happen to be that way. But so these themes that we're talking about are universal. Like, it's had some guys in from the States and from Australia. And they're like, just, if you listen, you will know that this is not isolated to just UK or just America or just Germany. This is across the board, across the world. These incidents happen. So there's the first one about how they're closing the gap. The other one is that I think is very very useful. Is about the learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Yes.
Yeah. So for the practitioners, it's like, okay, you might know some things or perceive to think you know everything, but you got a challenge. And to the later point, you talked about the biases. Be aware of your biases, so that you may be acting on that particular bias, which may limit your solutions that you come up with because you are pigeonholed what you think you're looking at. So that was a part of the bias. There's a difference between evolution and revolution.
Yes.
And I like that because even you're a technologist, that it's not leading with technology. It's first understanding, you called it social technology or social techno. Social issues first, so the human side first, and it has to happen, be not tech focused, but happen gradually. So that's I think probably heartwarming for the people that are scared of the likes of GPT, thinking it's going to take over the world. Said, well, no, if you at the moment people are contributing to it and maybe help build it, that it's not going to go like an angry thing and take over the world. So people first. Your technology should be not a like for like, but if it's talking about innovation, it's a step up, step change. So adding value. You had a two-part tool of right lens, right tools.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And the three stages of stages or types of digital transformation: digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. Right. And one is about conversion, one is about shifting, and the other one is about advanced stage of doing business.
Yes.
Am I doing well so far?
Yes. Spot on.
Right. Okay. And then your 3-step approach for that, you go in context, content, and process.
Yes.
And so for our audience and for of practitioners of all levels, and probably not so, I criticize the more senior guys because I think they should know better, but also the junior guys who come straight out of university that want to almost rote learn, apply things from the book. This is where I think you would advance your career better or faster, where that you can use your self-awareness, understand your natural biases, and understand that context, and not apply the framework word for word. Well, my book here, people say we're going to use a book, bang people over the head, but they don't do that.
Yes.
They can apply it appropriately and apportionately to the context with their content that is both two parts, strategic. I know that was through process. I know we've got we have to, with that content, we need to understand the level of digital maturity for the organization. So that will then really help what content we're using. You use the 4 W's 1 H, which I use. So the why, who, what, how, and when questions.
Yes.
Leadership, top management. If you don't get those guys on board, you might as well pack up and go home. Yeah. So that is otherwise known as the guys upstairs. And and so we know that change management is becoming important because of the big institutions are now bringing in change managers roles, which I've seen myself as well, that they didn't exist not long ago. And now for most of the projects, there is a change manager or change analyst that is part of the core team, which is great.
Yes.
That we have, if change is more outside than inside, then your end is insight.
Then your end is on next site.
And next site, it's coming.
Yes.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's
Okay.
coming.
And we had some great examples of companies that didn't embrace technology or change.
Yes.
Nokia, BlackBerry, and Yahoo.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a great quote there from the former CEO, Nokia, that
Yes.
they didn't do anything wrong. They just didn't anticipate the change.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
okay, so the lesson there is, well, in his eyes and maybe stakeholders' eyes at the time, it's like, well, they weren't doing anything wrong, but the market was moving. And if you
Yes.
don't move or innovate with the market, then you're going to be left stranded on your own. Yep. Okay. And then the last point on number 3 is the process is 2 parts: the strategic content and the strategy content and the strategy process.
Yes.
Alrighty, I got it. Okay, so
spot on. You banged on.
oh, fantastic! So my university was worthwhile. All right, they'll be so proud of me that I can do that. So if so you said you've published papers already, so I'll get those off you and we'll put them in the show notes and link to your profile, so if people want to get in touch they can.
Sure.
You're going to be, if they want to be one of the 1,500 SMEs and they want to volunteer to be part of this next survey, could they do that or they get in touch? Okay, so I'll put Jakita's contact details in the show notes and links to the papers that you've published so that everyone can read it and see how
my papers are already there on Scholar, Google Scholar.
Oh, fantastic. All right. We've had a true genius on the show here today. It's been an honor and a privilege.
It's so nice talking to you, and it was really great conversation. It's pleasure, really pleasure.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, Jakita. Okay, I'll let you know when hopefully we're only less than a week away. We should get this one up on the YouTube, and I'll let you know. You can do what you want, share it to your friends, and let them know it's up. Alrighty. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you.
Thank you so very much. Have a great evening.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.